Close your eyes for a second and picture this. Imagine waking up tomorrow and money just vanished. No dollars, no savings, no credit cards, no wallets, no bank accounts, no coins or bills, no price tags. Nothing. What would life look like without money? Would life be easier? Would the world be fairer, kinder? Would we finally get rid of greed, hunger, and debt? Or would it all fall apart? And here's the real question. How would you survive? How would you get the things you need? It's crazy to think about, right? But let's rewind a bit. Thousands of years ago, life was totally different. People hunted, gathered, and kept only what they could carry. Then we learned how to farm. Communities started forming. Life got more stable. But humans, we always wanted more. Trading was born, and eventually in 600 BC, the first coins were minted. That little piece of metal, it changed everything. Fast forward to today, money runs the world. But what if it didn't? What would the world really look like if money didn't exist? This is not easy to imagine. So I went ahead and did the hard work for you, and I'm going to share 11 ways the world would be different without money. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, I promise you'll have a whole new perspective. This is Flourish in Wealth, where financial freedom begins. Let's start with the basics. If money didn't exist, we'd go back to bartering, trading goods and services directly. For example, let's say you're a baker and I'm a farmer. I give you some vegetables and you give me bread. It sounds fair and simple, right? But here's where things get tricky. What if I don't need bread that week? Or what if your vegetables aren't ripe yet? Suddenly, this system starts to fall apart. Bartering works in theory, but it depends on perfect timing and everyone having something the other person wants. Think about it like kids trading snacks at school. You have a bag of chips, but the person with the chocolate bar doesn't like chips. You'd be stuck. That's the problem with barter trading. It's unpredictable and inefficient. And I seriously wonder how this can play out in today's world. Next, in a world without money, desperation would become the norm for many people, and with it, crime would likely increase. People need essentials like food, water, and shelter to survive. Without money, how would they get these things if bartering didn't work or if they didn't have anything valuable to trade? When people are pushed into survival mode, they'll do whatever it takes to protect themselves and their families, even if that means stealing or looting. Think about what happens during natural disasters when supply chains break down. Stores are looted, not because people are greedy, but because they're scared and trying to survive. Now imagine that scenario playing out on a massive scale. Money simplifies transactions. It's something everyone understands. Without it, people would struggle to agree on fair trades. And when frustration builds, like feeling cheated in a barter deal, it could lead to conflict, theft, or even violence. Then there's the problem of hoarding. The most resourceful or powerful individuals could hoard supplies like food, tools, or medicine, leaving others with nothing. That imbalance would breed resentment, and some people might resort to stealing just to get by. It's like when people panic buy during a crisis. Those left empty-handed feel powerless. And when you're powerless, survival instincts take over. On top of that, who would enforce the rules? Without money, systems that fund law enforcement and the justice system would collapse. Police officers, courts, and prisons wouldn't have the resources to maintain order. And without consequences, people might feel emboldened to break the law. Moreover, greed and power dynamics wouldn't just disappear. While some might share and cooperate, others would exploit the situation. Imagine groups stockpiling resources and using force to control their distribution. It's not hard to picture organized crime or black market systems emerging, where resources are traded under the table for favors, protection, or other goods. Crime wouldn't just happen, it could become the new normal. Desperation, frustration, and inequality would push many to break the rules just to survive. Over time, we might figure out new systems to restore order, but that transition would be chaotic. Before we move on, I want to hear from you. If money didn't exist, what's one thing you'd have to trade based on your skills or resources? Drop your answer in the comments below. For example, would you offer baking, gardening, or something else? Let's get a conversation going about how we'd all survive in a money-free world. And if you're finding value in this video, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the algorithm, and it really supports the channel so I can keep bringing you more content like this. Let's get back to it. Now at number 3, let's talk about value. Without money, how would we decide what something is worth? Let's say you're a carpenter and I'm a doctor. You build me a table and I help you with a medical issue. How do we determine what's fair? Is one table worth one doctor's visit? 2, 10. Value becomes super subjective in a world without money. Everyone would have their own idea of what something is worth. This would lead to constant disagreements and delays. Imagine spending hours just negotiating a trade every time you need something. It's like trying to trade a toy car for a video game. The kid with the game might say, "That's not enough," and now you're stuck trying to sweeten the deal. It's exhausting. 4. Here's something important to think about. Just because we get rid of money doesn't mean we get rid of inequality. Shocking, right? Let's say you're really good at farming, and I'm terrible at it. You'll have way more food than I do. Or maybe someone else is physically stronger or more skilled. They'll still end up with more resources. Even without money, power would still concentrate in the hands of a few. It's like in sports. There are always star players who dominate the game, no matter how fair the rules are. The same thing would happen in a money-free world. 5. Let's talk about emergencies. Imagine your kid gets sick and you need medicine, but you're a carpenter and the pharmacist doesn't need furniture. What do? Without money, you'd spend precious time trying to find someone who can trade with you. Maybe you trade your skills to someone else to get what the pharmacist needs. But in an emergency, time is everything. Money simplifies these transactions, allowing you to get help instantly. Without it, you'd be stuck in a desperate scramble. At number 6. Here's another thing to consider. Progress would grind to a halt. Think about all the big projects and inventions we have today. Hospitals, airplanes, smartphones. These things exist because people pooled their money together to fund them. Without money, how would you organize something like that? Imagine trying to build a hospital using just bartering. You'd need thousands of people trading skills and materials, and no one would have a clear way to track who owes what. It'd be chaos. Without money, the incentive to innovate would also diminish. Many entrepreneurs and inventors are driven by the potential financial rewards of their ideas. Without a monetary system, the motivation to create and improve would be significantly reduced. This lack of innovation would affect every aspect of our lives, from healthcare to technology to everyday conveniences. Ultimately, the absence of money wouldn't just make our current system more complicated, it would fundamentally change the pace and direction of human progress. We'd be stuck in a perpetual struggle to meet basic needs, with little room for the advancements that make life better for everyone. 7. On a more personal note, how would relationships change without money? Think about how much stress money adds to friendships, marriages, and families. Without it, maybe we'd focus more on helping each other rather than competing. Imagine communities coming together to share resources and skills, fostering a sense of unity and cooperation that we rarely see today. But at the same time, some people might take advantage of others. Imagine someone constantly asking for help without offering anything in return. Money sets boundaries and makes things clear. Without it, relationships could get messy. The absence of a monetary system could lead to resentment and distrust, making it difficult to maintain healthy and balanced relationships. In this new world, the dynamics of relationships would shift dramatically. Trust and reciprocity would become the new currency, but the lack of clear boundaries could also lead to exploitation and conflict. Ultimately, the way we connect with each other would be fundamentally transformed, for better and for worse. 8. Success will be redefined. Right now, success is often measured by how much money you make. But in a money-free world, we'd have to rethink that. Maybe success would be about how much you contribute to your community, or how skilled you are at something. Imagine a society where your worth isn't determined by your bank balance, but by the tangible, positive impact you have on those around you. It's like playing a game with no score. Suddenly, the focus shifts from winning to just enjoying the game. Maybe that's what we need more of in life. Success could become a measure of your kindness, your creativity, or your ability to bring people together. Think about it. An artist who beautifies the town, a teacher who empowers children, or a gardener who feeds the neighborhood could all be seen as highly successful. In this new paradigm, everyone has the potential to be a hero in their own unique way. But redefining success wouldn't be easy. It would challenge deeply ingrained beliefs and require a shift in mindset. Yet it could lead to a more fulfilling and equitable society where everyone's contributions are valued. What would your success look like in this new world? 9. Without money, we might appreciate things more. If you had to grow your own food or build your own house, you'd value those things so much more. It's like making a meal from scratch versus ordering takeout. The effort makes it more meaningful. Imagine the satisfaction of eating a salad you grew yourself, or the pride in living in a home you constructed with your own hands. A money-free world might teach us to cherish the things we usually take for granted. The small acts of daily life, planting a seed, crafting a tool, or even mending clothes, could become sources of immense joy and fulfillment. These everyday tasks would no longer be seen as chores but as vital, rewarding parts of life. In a world without money, the true value of things would shine through, teaching us a deeper appreciation for the little things that make life beautiful. 10. In a world without money, the concept of time would shift dramatically. No longer would hours be equated to dollars, nor would minutes be spent chasing financial gain. Instead, time itself would become our most precious resource. Imagine a life where the hours you spend are directly invested in the well-being of your community and yourself. Picture trading your skills and labor not for currency but for the immediate and tangible results they create. Without the constant rush to earn, people might find more time for family, friends, and personal growth. You could spend your days learning new skills, teaching others, or simply enjoying the moment. The absence of monetary pressure could lead to a richer, more fulfilling use of our time. We'd measure our days not by how much we've earned, but by how much we've lived. The value of time would be redefined, offering a deeper appreciation for every passing second. Tasks that once felt burdensome could become acts of love and community, transforming our perception of time from a commodity to a cherished gift. Last but not least, without money, you couldn't just order things from across the world. Life would shrink down to your immediate community. If you're a fisherman living near the coast, you might never taste beef. If you live in a cold climate, say goodbye to tropical fruits like bananas or mangoes. Money allows us to trade globally, connecting us to things we could never produce ourselves. Without it, you'd be limited to what's around you. It's like living in a tiny village where everyone relies on each other but has no access to the outside world. Cozy? Sure, but limiting. So, what would the world look like if money didn't exist? It'd be simpler in some ways, but way more complicated in others. Money may not be perfect, but it's the tool we've created to make life easier, or at least that's the idea. Hey, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure to check out my other video here for more tips on how the money system actually works. See you there.